Good evening, YouTube. Tired Metalhead Weatherman here. Hopefully you guys are doing well. It's been a crazy day today, actually. So before I get into what this actual video is going to be, I would feel kind of remiss if I didn't talk about today's. I almost want to call it a derecho, but I'm not exactly sure what the span of this area is. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be home to cover this. I was at work, so apologize to anyone that could have been looking for me. If you want to make it to where I can be available for these events more, just keep doing what I ask as far as like hitting that like button, also hitting that subscribe button. We are not far away from 500 subs here. That would be awesome if we could get there within the end of the year. Hopefully sooner than that, really, but a lot of things will start to change at 500 subs. Maybe I could be here more, but we'll see what happens with that. Also, of course, sharing these videos definitely helps us get out to more people. The better we look in the algorithm, the more likely we are to get more people here. But that being said here, massive severe weather event today. Reports are actually coming in by the second. I saw this sitting at 500 before I hit record here on the video, and now we're already at 509. A lot of these are wind reports, 450 to be exact, 25 of those being significant. Some hail reports are coming in still as well. 3 significant hail reports there, and 1 tornado report over towards the Missouri-Iowa line here. Definitely going to be a day that's remembered for the wind damage that was caused by this storm system here. Whether it was just a strong, intense MCS or full-on derecho does not matter. The damage has been notable from what I've seen. A lot of people are without power right now in these regions, so if you have any way to help these people, first and foremost, definitely do that. That's what I would encourage you to do. That being said here, let's go ahead and get into the actual video here, which is going to be the monthly outlook for July. I've been meaning to get into this one, but there's been so much severe weather. For the times that I have been able to go live, they've usually been spanning for hours and hours at a time. Then I have to go to work the next morning. So that's why this video has been delayed, and anyone that could have been looking for it, I apologize. That being said, let's get into it here. So no surprises here. We're already kind of seeing a sneak preview. We're dealing with above average temperature, most likely across the eastern half of the country here. This outlook was on June 15th. We might see an update to this maybe tomorrow, but I doubt too much will change here. The closer the color is to red here, the higher the confidence of seeing above average temperatures here. No real chance of below average temperatures here, so pretty much if you're not an equal chance, you're going to pretty much have some kind of likelihood of seeing above average. The percentile goes as follows. This light orange color is at 33 to 40%. This orange color is at 40 to 50. And then this color right here, which is kind of leaning into that orangish red color, is about 50 to 60% likelihood. Spanning across a large part of the country, anywhere east of the Rockies, you can expect temperatures to most likely be above average throughout the course of the month. Now, I want to make sure that I make this clear, but this does not mean that every single day is going to be 110 degree temperatures for your area. It just means that you have a higher chance of seeing above average temperatures. This does not go off of temperature values. We'll get into that a little bit later into the video. Also, since we have Alaska up here, let's go ahead and look at that. We see about a 40 to 50% chance of above average temperatures dominating through a large part of the state. And then over towards the north and northeastern parts, or the west, west and maybe even northwestern parts of the state, we get towards equal chance and maybe the 30 to 40 percentile. So that's what we're looking like for temperature. The precip outlook is relatively interesting. We're starting to see a little bit more activity up towards the north here. I'd love for this to scoot a little bit further to the east because the western half of the Great Lakes here have been really struggling for moisture. So it'd be nice to see if some of these guys can have some of their rain concerns taken care of here, especially since there's so many crops here too. But over towards the desert southwest is our only area in the lower 48 that we have to worry about being below average. This is about right for this time of year to start to see a little bit of a rainfall deficit occur across this area. And we're pretty much right on schedule here. It's been really active over towards the eastern half of New Mexico, so it's good to see them getting into the equal chances here instead of seeing them getting slammed by storm system after storm system. Another area that we could start to see an increase in precipitation likelihood would be over towards Texas, especially towards Houston and Galveston. During this time of year, we could get a tropical storm that pops up here. Could also get a couple of storm systems that form on the flanks of these cold fronts that end up developing here. These frontal boundaries could cause not only tropical development, but just storm systems in general that will linger over this area. So there is always that chance of above average precipitation. The pattern is very much conducive for that. Then also with the jet stream to the north being a little bit more active over here, there also brings the chance of increased precipitation across parts of the mid-Atlantic and maybe even stretching into the northeast a little bit here. We see equal chance here, but I do think that this area could stretch a little further to the north here. Also, there could be chances of severe weather down the line here. I would say that they're marginal at best for right now, but of course, with us being far out and really looking into next month here, you have to take that with a grain of salt. Things could ramp up or they could trend downward, so we'll just have to wait and see. Last but not least, looking at Alaska, because we get limited views on this state, mostly seeing below average precipitation or equal chances. More so towards the northwestern part of the state is where we're seeing below average chances for precipitation and some decent confidence at that, about 40 to 50%. And then in the brown here, we have a little bit lower confidence, but still below average chance of precipitation heading into the heart of the state. So interesting stuff going on as a whole throughout the month of July, or as of right now, based off what we're seeing. One thing to make note of here is over the next 6 to 10, really 8 to 14 days, looks like we're going to be dealing with a little bit cooler temperatures over the heart of the country, which will be nice because the heat will be coming shortly. So savor this in while you can over there. I really would love to trade places with you because I work outside, and yeah, it's not fun when it's 90 degrees with dew points in the 60s and 70s. It can be really rough. But over towards the central part of the country, it seems downright nice in comparison to what I'm dealing with, although it still might be a little bit warm over here towards this part of the country. Anywhere else where you're either near normal or above average, Florida's baking. Over to the Gulf Coast, we're dealing with the high likelihood of above average temperatures. Desert Southwest and even the Northwest, which is interesting. You don't normally see them having this issue here. Nonetheless, though, we look at precipitation over the next couple of weeks here. It's pretty active across the central part of the U.S. particularly, and then this pattern really seems to continue as we head into the first couple of weeks of July here. So keep an eye out on the 4th. You could get some weather, especially towards the northern and maybe north central tiers of the U.S., especially towards the eastern half, like the Ohio Valley, for example. We're going to have to watch you a little bit closer for showers, thunderstorms, and maybe even severe. So that's what we're looking at as far as the outlooks are concerned. Let's get a little bit more in depth here. This is where we start to see the temperature anomaly in comparison to average here. Thing is, this is measured in Celsius, but I'm here to tell you where the what this exactly means here. So with Celsius, basically, if you're seeing anything above 2 degrees Celsius, which would be this color right here, that's rather significant. I drew a bad circle, but nonetheless, right here, if you start to see these colors, notice that there's going to be quite a contrast coming your way. and that's in either sense, with warm and or cold. We could be seeing well above 10 plus or minus degrees in comparison to average here. Trying to figure out the right wordplay for that. That being said, let's go ahead and get this moving. This is heading into the first week of July here. Major temperature increase over here towards the Tennessee and Ohio valleys here, over towards the Ozarks, Mississippi River. This outlook shows potential for almost 5 to 7 degrees Celsius, so big temperature changes. We could see even 20 degree plus above average on here. This is going to be a large part of what makes July warmer than average for a lot of these areas here. There is another pocket over here towards the western half of the country where we see those similar numbers here, so look out. Make sure that your AC is set up well. Make sure you have plenty of Freon in your car as well, so that way you don't run out of AC, and antifreeze as well. This time of year can be really difficult on cars. I see them breaking down on the highway all the time thanks to work. The only pocket where we're below average here in notable numbers here is over towards the Rockies, towards these higher elevations. We could be about maybe 3, possibly even 4 degrees Celsius below average here. But nonetheless, though, a lot of these areas towards the valleys, unfortunately, you aren't going to be seeing too much of this here. There are a couple of pockets here that are about average, but during the summertime it's pretty hot regardless, so it's not like there's a whole lot of comfort going on even over here towards the mountains. This area remains dominant for the first couple of weeks. This is really going to be what sets the tone for the month. As we start to get towards the second half of the month, we do start to see a little bit of a change here. We do see everybody above average at this point. However, it does look like things relent a little bit. It's not going to be quite as severe. We kind of level off, if you will. And this is heading into August, and for the most part, unless you're over towards the northwest, we're at a steady, we're steadily above average, but it's not by an immense amount. Usually it's probably by about a degree or two. Nonetheless, though, that's still about could be up to about maybe 5 to 15 degrees above average Fahrenheit. So definitely something to keep in mind as we head into the following month. Next thing to make note of here is, of course, the precip. And one thing to note is that, of course, like we mentioned before, heart of the country, Ohio Valley, some parts of the Great Lakes here do look like they're starting to get into the action, which is good news. We're starting to get some increase in moisture here. We could be off kilter over here towards the southeast just a little bit, since the storm track is a little bit more so towards the north. And then over here towards the northern plains and heading into the northwest, we could see a slight departure from what our average precip is. Could be in a slight deficit. Then we start to, as we get into the middle of the month, we start to see the moisture begin to transition more so to the south here. And then the following week, we start to look like we're beginning to level off here. Now, with us looking 3 weeks out, a lot is prone to changing here, so take this part with a grain of salt. But southeast looks like it's slightly above average in precip here. Pretty much most of the eastern seaboard seems to be that. But over towards the southwest here and heading into the western plains, we do look like we could see a little bit of a dry spell here. But other than that, everybody's hanging around the average amount, hanging towards about average numbers, I would say. As we head towards the end of July, we do start to see a little bit of a quieter pattern taking shape here. So definitely something to keep note of as well as we head towards the end of the month. And then the following weeks, it looks like a more dry spell will start to return to the southeast as we start looking at August. So hope you guys enjoyed this outlook here. I know it's a little bit longer than some of the other outlooks, but a lot of interesting stuff is happening here. A lot of interesting pattern changes. But if you did enjoy that video, like I said before at the beginning of the video, make sure you hit that like button. Also smash that subscribe button. and face kick the bell as well, so that way you get notifications to every video I make. And also make sure you share the video to anyone that you think will find this useful. But anyway, this has been Metalhead Weatherman. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care and have a good night.